TALK, is the most comprehensive, teachable, practical, scientifically rigorous framework in the world for communication. Let's start with T. T is for topics. We're choosing topics every time we talk. It's not just at the beginning of a conversation like an opener. We're making moves to gently stay on topic or switch to something else. When you start to realize how much your mind is doing during a live conversation, offload some of that cognitive work to beforehand. Prepping topics ahead of time. Spending even 30 seconds before you're in the chaos of a conversation to think about what you could talk about. The conversations where people have thought ahead even for 30 seconds, they feel less anxious, they're much smoother, there are fewer disfluencies, so ums, uhs, stutters between topics. You're less likely to share things that you don't want to share. It's just an incredibly powerful strategy. A is for asking. The most common way that people switch topics is by asking a question. So you can use questions like, what are you excited about recently? Or what has been your favorite guest to talk to? Or what have you and your girlfriend done together recently? You can do that to switch topics. Once you're on a topic, we use follow-up questions to kind of dive deeply and move up the topic pyramid. It sounds so simple, but doing it in practice is quite hard, and it's a skill. And people who do it well are more successful on romantic dates. They're more successful in work meetings. They're more successful as collaborators. They're more successful as entrepreneurs in getting funding. All of it hinges on question asking. So the top line advice, just ask more questions. At the very least, don't be a zero question asker. L is for levity. So we've talked a bit about difficult conversations and how they can so easily get overheated. When you think about chats that go off the rails, it's quite easy to think of hostile conflict, difficult conversations, because they're very salient, they're very memorable. The more common enemy of conversation is actually boredom and disengagement. And so levity is humor and warmth to help us avoid disinterest and boredom. If we are not leaning towards each other and interested in what the other person is saying, we can't achieve any of our other goals. Good conversation requires mutual engagement. So if I'm bored and my mind is wandering, then you can't do anything else either. Persuasion, making decisions together, brainstorming, connecting, none of it. So the L is very important because it makes things fun and enjoyable, but it's also important because we need to stay here with each other and not disengage. Let's move to K, kindness. We're all taught this virtue of kindness when we're children and spend the rest of our lives sort of falling short of actually doing it in practice. People who are actually kind, what are they thinking about and how are they interacting with other people? What kinds of choices are they making? How do they talk to other people? There are these sort of mistakes that we make in the respectfulness of our language that undermine our actual kindness to other people. Making sure you use someone's name, that is really meaningful. You need to know people's names and use them correctly. And with appropriate formality, right? Sometimes it's wonderful to say like, hey, honey. And sometimes you need to say, it's nice to meet you, Dr. Brooks, right? Like you need to be able to read that. So the tiny choices we make in our language, they have a real impact on how these interactions go. So we can all learn to use more respectful language.